now making his way to the dumbbells, and he'll be the first one here at the Central Regional to experience the sheer joy of dumbbell box step-overs. Now he stays low. That is okay. You do not have to extend the hips on top of the box. The standard is just to get over that box and bring both feet onto the other side.
Brandon, that box is 24 inches tall, and each dumbbell is 70 pounds. So you can see just how awkward it is, and it's very grip intensive. And you got to keep in mind that these athletes just a few minutes earlier did 50 toes to bar and blew out the grip.
So that box has shifted down the floor, and that's because every 6 reps, you'll advance that box. It'll indicate where you are in relation to the rest of the field. It's also that visual indicator. Bunton in first, Hopkins in the background in second, and Tony Spillane in third as they work past rep number 6 of 50.
Everybody has the same style, it looks like, just to get over the box. Keep your hips as low as you can.
Hopkins out of CrossFit Maximus Nashland. Competed on a team at the games last year. Continuing to lead the way in the very early stages, working towards rep number 18, and almost in a weird way, the fact that you have to advance the box every 6 reps, which almost feels like a weird number, but every 6 reps, that's a great chance to just kind of relax that grip, I would imagine.
Shake the grip, but it's also an opportunity to allow yourself to get a little bit too lazy, where you take a little too much time trying to move through that transition as opposed to moving quickly. You might go faster if you were allowed to do more reps unbroken.
And this is a good example of what you were just talking about with that large transition time here for Bunton. He's about a third of the way through the work on this portion of the event.
Take a look at those dumbbells as he goes over. As he's standing there, the dumbbells are hanging just above his knee. Even when he goes to make the step up, the height of the dumbbells doesn't raise almost at all. He's making his body go up and over, and those dumbbells basically stay flat all the way across.
Now he did rest the dumbbells on the box. That is okay. They were informed of that in the briefing last night.
But this is just a bashing on the legs and the grip. You got to keep in mind that we've got lots and lots of lunges coming up.
New leader, you notice him moving that box into the next section of the floor first. That's Josiah Nag out of CrossFit Omaha. One of a handful of athletes here that actually holds a full-time job while training for this. He's a senior operations manager for a gas company.
It's becoming more and more rare. The CrossFit athlete who's competing at this level, they need to put in so much time at the gym that having a full-time job, it just becomes almost impossible.
So Nag, the fittest man in Nebraska, also possibly the fittest senior operations manager for a gas company in the country, is past the halfway point in this set of 50 dumbbell box step-overs. He's also employing that strategy of keeping the dumbbells pretty level even when he's off or on the box.
One of the things we talk about in strongman when carrying the yoke is to try to keep the yoke completely flat and level, because you don't want any up and down movement. You want to limit that because it's just abuse on the body. And to me, this looks very similar. The flatter you can keep the dumbbells, the less impact it is on the rest of your body.
The funny thing about this event is when it was announced, you almost kind of felt like a lot of the athletes were thinking, okay, 50 dumbbell box step-overs, that doesn't seem that bad. And then Dave Castro released that video that showed Stacy Tovar, who was here a year ago, recently retired, of her struggling to continue to do those box step overs, and there was a collective, oh no, what have we gotten into?
But anybody who's been doing this for a while, you always know when it doesn't look like much on the board, that's always the time to be nervous.
And while this is a new movement to regionals, it is not a new movement to competition. We've seen something similar at the Invitational about 5 years ago. They had a burpee thrown into it, but they had to know that those step overs were coming at some point. As 42 reps complete, 8 to go for our leader, Josiah Nag. He'll do 6 in that spot, flip the box one more time, and do 2 in that 50 spot on the floor that's just ahead of him. Late into this event, only 16 people in the world in week number 1 were able to beat the time cap, which is about 4.5 minutes away. Nag in first, in lane number 7, one lane below him will be Harold Fisher, also working on his final 8 reps. That event record of Patrick Vellner, 14:35. I don't think it's going to be under any attack here in this heat. Of course, there's that dude, Matt Fraser, that's coming up in heat number 2. He's just been shattering event records the past couple days. Final 2 reps on the box step overs for Josiah Nag. He will move that box forward one more time to give himself some space. So he'll start on the overhead walking lunge, and that's not a new movement, but it's got a twist to it here at regionals.
Well, the twist, Brandon, is that we're going to have the right arm up, fully extended overhead, and we're going to have the left arm where the dumbbell's sitting on the shoulder. That's for the first 50 feet. On the way back, we're going to switch the arms. So this is a lopsided lunge, and it makes the midline just smashed throughout this event.
I feel like the extended arm, yeah, that's obviously going to be a taxing portion, but I think people really sleep on how much work is being done on that arm that's holding that dumbbell on the shoulder.
Well, I think that when you've got that arm extended, at least you can get bone on bone. You can have some support overhead. The problem when you've got that arm sitting on the shoulder with 70 pounds is that it's sucking the life out of you. It's sitting on your diaphragm. It's ripping, it's robbing you of your air.
Of course, there is the extra factor that our event number 6 coming up later today, only rope climbs and thrusters, so having that dumbbell right there just going to wear out the grip a little bit more as we got that updated stat. 16 of 151 men in the world at regionals have been able to beat this time cap of 17 minutes, which is a little over 2 minutes away. Josiah Nag in position to be the 17th man to do so. As in lane number 12, we have Zachary Bunton making his way across the floor. He's about 15 feet away from that red line. Both heels have to be clear of the red line. And he reached out just enough to get that heel over the line. That's a smart move. But Josiah Nag making his way back down the floor. Now he's got that dumbbell a little bit off his shoulder. That is okay, obviously, but what is that going to do to him physically?
Over time, it's going to wear on you, and I was just going to draw the comparison between what him and Bunton were doing. Bunton had it resting on his shoulder, literally sitting on the shoulder, just kind of cradling it instead of supporting it with that arm. Completely different exertion levels there.
And you notice when Nag set the dumbbells down, he dragged them back a little bit. Once you clear one of those lines, those gray lines on the floor, then that's your restart point. You have to go back behind that with both feet before you continue. Nag on the left, Bunton on the right. Bunton dumping the dumbbells. Nag continuing, and both heels clearing the line, and the 17th man in the world to beat the time cap will be your event leader after heat number 1, and it's Josiah Nag in at 16:16. Next finisher looks to be Zachary Bunton. 30 seconds until the time cap. Make his way over that box. to the finish, Matt, at 16 minutes and 38 seconds. Oh, bit of a header there for Josh Woodhull. Is going to make his way to the dumbbells first at the 6-minute mark, and he'll have Matt Fraser close behind, both of them 10 seconds quicker than the event record pace.
And this is where we might see a taller athlete have an advantage because that box is 24 inches. It's not that high of a step. For some of the shorter athletes, they've got to get that knee way up there in order to get over that 24-inch box with 70-pound dumbbells.
And these are two of the shorter athletes at 5'7" and 5'9" for Fraser and Panchik. Speaking of the taller athletes, Drew Wayman has made his way to the assault bike, but he was the 20th out of 20 to do so.
This is where we're going to see that the other athletes, the 19 athletes, they're far enough out ahead that I just don't think that he can catch up. He's got about 3 minutes plus on that assault bike.
Horner in black and gray out in front, just ahead of Fraser in white and gray, both in the center of the screen. Between them is Nick Urankar, who moves into the 3rd position. And here comes Scott Panchik, just 2 points ahead of Alex Anderson for that 5th and final qualifying spot, with just 2 events remaining, including this one. Let's look at Anderson. Both he and Panchik, multiple consecutive games appearances. And Anderson's been one of those guys that just keeps ticking upward every single year. And if he gets back to the games, he could be a legit threat.
So far in this regional, he's gone 4th, 7th, 9th, and yesterday event 4 with a 23rd. So he's got some work to do here, but he's super strong and he's always well composed.
Right side of the screen, black shirt, gray shorts for Street Horner. Continuing to lead the way. He'll be 3 reps, now 4 reps ahead of Fraser.
One of the things I noticed about Street Horner is that he's extending his leg a little bit more as he goes up and over that box. Some of the other athletes were trying to keep the dumbbells really flat. It looks like he's taking a big chunk at it, so he steps up and opens his hip a little bit more and almost comes to a full upright position.
Now Horner in 4th, he is far from safe coming into today, just 12 points ahead of Anderson, but he can keep a good eye on where Alex is, as Alex is 1 lane over to Street's left. Now at this point, once we get to the step overs and the lunges, Horner at 5'9", Anderson at 5'10", but significantly heavier by about 10 pounds. That's got to favor Alex.
It has to favor Alex, but I'm watching both of them. Their tempo is really good. What's going to matter here is transition time. As you slide that box forward, it's so easy to get a little bit too lazy and let the clock run away from you. You need to turn right back around, grab the dumbbells, and pick them up again.
Now, while Horner and Anderson are doing what they need to do, Wayman continuing to slide back. He has made his way to the box, but he's bringing up the rear of the field here in heat number 2. Third place, just 20 points clear of 6th. You can see that box all the way back towards the beginning as everybody else has moved past them. Those boxes will shift forward every 6 reps. It indicates where the leaders are compared to the field. So we are just past halfway in our 17-minute time cap event number 5. 50 handstand push-ups, 50 toes to bar, 50 cow bike. That's already behind them as our leaders making their way through 50 dumbbell box step overs. They'll have 50 feet of a right arm and then a left arm overhead lunge remaining once they complete this.
See Alex Anderson making quick work of the up and overs. Quick transition time, doesn't waste any time, immediately turns around and grabs that next rep.
I believe he was about 5th or 6th coming off the assault bike, and he was maybe mid-pack at best getting to the bike, but once they got to that assault bike and out to the dumbbell box step overs, he has moved his way through the field, and he's now level with Horner and Fraser.
And as a competitor, when you can see somebody, and you can even feel them getting closer, just inching closer and closer, it is absolutely putting pressure on.
Level with each other are 5th and 7th place athletes, and why not? Brothers almost resting the exact same way. And there we go, hands on the knees, but just like Saxon and Scott, there's Spencer Panchik. As he's in the tight race with most of the field, as they're working on the finishing just past the halfway point on these dumbbell box step overs. Wayman, we talked about how that height was a disadvantage early with the handstand push-ups and the toes to bar, but he's starting to make a move and closing in on the field here on the dumbbell box step overs.
Well, like we talked about earlier, being really tall at box is 24 inches for everybody. So if you're 5'7", that's not so great. If you're 6'3", that's not that bad.
Wayman trying to play to his strengths here in the back half of this event. Again, just 20 points clear of Alex Anderson in 6th. As our leaders in their final few reps, and in fact end those reps for Street Horner, Anderson going to be just behind him, and they'll both take the same strategy as sitting on the box to try to collect their breath. Again, the event record, 14 minutes, 35 seconds. That's 2 minutes, 10 seconds away. But the time to beat here in the Central Regional from heat number 1, 16:15 by Josiah Nag. This is an interesting strategy with how long of a break both Horner and Anderson are taking as Fraser is with them. As well as in lane number 3, Joseph Totora is finished with his dumbbell box step overs. And Horner and Anderson have really waited about 45 seconds each in synchronization with each other. They're going to start the lunge. Fraser is there with them. And we're 3 wide, and why not on the day of the Indy 500? Let's go 3 wide all the way down the floor. Those gray lines on the floor of the Music City Center. Once your both heels clear those lines, that becomes your restart point if you set the dumbbells down. That red line, both heels have to clear it, and then you can turn around and switch arms.
Here's what I noticed, Brandon. Fraser's cycle time on his lunges is just faster. He's turning them over quicker. As soon as that knee hits the ground, he comes up, steps through. His steps are literally a half step quicker than everybody else.
Is there anything left to say?
Oh, wait, Matt Fraser is faster than everybody else?
This Fraser guy is pretty good, and if you remember the update show at the start of the week, they compared him to Thanos from Infinity War, the rest of the field being the Central Regional Avengers. Thanos wanted balance. There's been zero balance this weekend in this competition. As behind him, it's the race for 5th in the leaderboard. Street Horner, 4th place entering this event, is just ahead of Alex Anderson, who entered this event in 6th. Oh, by the way, 15 seconds from now is the event record of Patrick Vellner. 4 consecutive event wins. And let's make it 3 consecutive event records for Matt Fraser. 14:33. And the black shirts, here we go, as we got a couple athletes making their way through, and we might have a sleeper in this one. In lane 16, Nick Block. He's taken a couple positions away, and he'll be second in the heat, second in the event at 14:56. Horner setting the dumbbells down, and this could be huge for Alex Anderson. He's going to be in a foot race. And he will edge.
To say a 3rd place finish here on event number 5 was sorely needed would be an understatement. After a position outside of the top 20 in event number 4, what do you tell yourself mentally to prepare for day 3?
Well, first off, it's Memorial Day weekend, so I just want to say thank you to everyone that served or is currently serving. My best bud, Jeremy Baker's here. Thanks, buddy. But back to your question. Yeah, no, that was big. I really needed that. I dug myself quite a hole yesterday with that snatch workout. So really grateful for that performance, and hopefully we can move forward.
It was quite the race on the last part of event number 5 on the lunges. What do you go through mentally when you see a bunch of guys lined up fighting toward the finish line?
Yeah, I mean, I was really staying more focused on my lane, but I could definitely see everyone around me in my peripheral. But I wanted to make sure I didn't, have a bad fail to where I was literally like dropping with the dumbbells and having to come back and restart. So I was just trying to run my own race at the same time, but definitely conscious of where everyone was at.
After day 1, potentially the hardest day ever of regional competition, how is the body feeling right now with one more event to go later this afternoon?
Body's great, ready to rock.
Ready to rock. Great performance here in event number 5.
Mason Doherty, Hugo Layton, Jesse Burns, David James, Joel Munro, James Conyu, Hayden Lavanda, Myung Sik Kwak, Billy Pullen, and Hyungwoo Cho. As I mentioned before, one of 2 events this weekend with 20 individual athletes on the arena. What a treat for us. Of course, the first being the 3x3 on Friday. One-minute athletes, please return to your starting mats. "30 seconds, athletes." "10 seconds. Stand by. We are away. 50 handstand push-ups is the first requirement in this chipper style event. And kipping is allowed, and as you can see, all men, ladies and gentlemen, in lane, I believe that's Joel Munro doing strict handstand push-ups in this chipper style event. Now give us some work. Lane 6, yes it is Joel. And now he reverts to kipping. Got a few men down off the wall. Alex Younger comes down, obviously tactically breaking these up. So the event record is 13 minutes and 30 seconds. That was by Brent Fikowski. I'll wait for a judge's hand. We've had a number of men yet to come off the wall. I have a judge's hand up, and that's in lane number 12. It's Jacob Pfaff. Jacob Pfaff with a hand up. Oh, in fact, in lane number 2, Billy Pullen is on the 50 toes to bar. As is Hayden Wolfsbauer in lane 20. So 2 men at the opposite end of the rig on the toes to bar. Got a few others joining them now. James Conyu, Jacob Pfaff. So four men are now on the toes to bar. Tom Lengel joins them in lane 11. Myung Sik Kwak in lane 3, also on the toaster bar, well with Hyungjae Cho. Alex Younger from CrossFit CFPT in Hong Kong. Vast majority of athletes on the toaster bar now. And after these toes to bar, it will be 50 cals on the assault bike. And The hand is up for Mason Doherty. So Mason Doherty moves to the toaster bar. And it looks like we have all men on the toaster bar. Just rounding out, that is Aaron Osborne. In fact, he is now on the toaster bar. So all athletes working at the toaster bar. I'll wait for a judge's hand. And there is one up, and it's still our leader in lane 2. Billy Pullen is on the assault bike, ladies and gents. And at the moment, he is on pace with the time set by Brent Fikowski last weekend. Obviously, a long way to go in this event. The male time cap here is 17 minutes. We have a different cap for men and women in this event. 17 for the men. All right, James Connew. He has made his way to the assault bike. Tom Lengel took care of those toes to bar, and he rips the shirt off as he's on the assault bike. In lane 20, Hayden Wolfsbauer begins pedaling away like a madman, and look at that, he is absolutely going for it in lane 20. Hayden Wolfsbauer, good grief. Don't try that at home. Good to see, joining in with the crowd. So, the assault bike, 50 calories. Calories is a very interesting unit because the slower you go, the more work you'll have to do. The vast majority of men are on the assault bike. We've got Mason Doherty just rounding out the toaster bar in lane number 10, and the hand is up, so Mason will join the rest of the field on the assault bike very shortly. So early on in the piece, it's Billy Pullen who got to the assault bike first. Hayden Wolfsbauer jumped on and pedaled like a madman for about 20 seconds, and that would have put him back in the equation for top spot. Billy Pullen has 30 calories done. Tom Lengel has 25 calories. And Hayden Wolfsbauer has 31 calories done. So I'll say it's Pullen just over Wolfsbauer. Pullen by a calorie or two. Billy Pullen's in lane 2 and Wolfsbauer is in lane 20, so they're nowhere near each other in terms of the competition arena, but they are right next to each other in terms of calories. Billy Pullen with 10 calories to go. Hayden Wolfsbauer with 11 calories to go. So both those men, you would imagine, will be off in the next 45 seconds or so. Hand is up for Pullen, so he has 5 calories remaining. And we will make our way to the dumbbell box step over. Athletes will advance the bar every 6 reps. Now, of course, James Connew, he also got to the bike very early, and the hand is up for him. So Pullen is the first man off, and he's walking back to the ring just to chalk up. So Connew most likely will start us off. So James Connew will be the first man. There are 2 70-pound dumbbells. The box will be flipped every 6 reps. And Connew, a little stumble for the first one, but now he's away. And Hayden Wolfsbauer, just like he did on the bike, has started the box step overs at a frantic pace. So Lengel, and right next to Lengel, Jacob Pfaff is also on the step over. So the first man to flip the box, or the first men to flip the box, are Pullen, Konyu, and Wolfsbauer. Munro's got a nice sort of technique going where he's using the momentum of the dumbbells. So Jacob Pfaff joins in on the second set of 6. Tommy Lengel flips the box for his second set of 6. All right, so I think Pullen is through, no, Konyu is through 12 of the 50 reps, as is Billy Pullen, and Hayden Wolfsbauer is through 11 reps, I believe. Your leader now is James Konyu. Okay, so Jesse Burns. Jesse Burns in lane 8 after a somewhat slower start on the bike in Toaster Bar. He is now level pegging with the rest of them. Konyu is the man out in front. So James Konyu in the purple trunks in lane 3. Billy Pullen, he took us first to the step overs, but he's just a few reps behind. I tell you what, Jacob Pfaff is now in second place. Hey, kudos Bangarina. This is arguably the hardest 50 reps of the weekend, so go ahead, make some noise for these guys working hard. Very challenging movement with challenging weight, even for men as strong as this. We are approaching the halfway mark for Konyu. He has completed 24 reps, so Konyu is in front on 24 reps. Alrighty, so joining Konyu at the 24 rep mark is David James, Jacob Pfaff, and I tell you who has made an excellent comeback after being last off the Toaster Bar is Mason Doherty, ladies and gentlemen. Mason Doherty, now one of the leaders of the field. Of course, Mason coached by Drummond Williamson, most famous man in Tasmania. So Konyu is through 30 reps. Konyu has about I'll call it a 3 or 4. You know what? Konyu and David James are now 30 reps apiece. So in lane 7, or 4 as you look at it on the rig, David James from CrossFit Gunnedah. James Konyu from CrossFit 3216. They are your leaders, and David James is now your outright leader. So David James in lane 4, wearing his new shorts. You can tell because he's left a tag on them. And he will advance. He has done 36 reps, so has Konyu. Conyu and James. James and Conyu, can anyone come at them? Remember, after this, we move to an overhead lunge with one arm. Now, Jacob Pfaff has also done 36 reps. Mason Doherty continues on the comeback trail. Mason Doherty is on 36 reps. We have a 17-minute cap. And we are 13:25 down. Are we going to see any of these men finish? David James has completed 42 reps. Kudos Bank Arena, make some noise for David James. He's 8 reps from finishing. Like I said, arguably the toughest 50 reps of the 2018 regionals. $50 dumbbell box step overs. It's as brutal as it sounds. And these gentlemen working super hard. He won event 5. If anything, James has started to lift his rating a little bit. All right, Hayden Lavender has also made a nice comeback in lane number 5. He is on his last 8 reps, but it will be David James. He has 2 reps remaining. It is a feat in itself just to get through the dumbbell box step overs. And he is now on the overhead lunge. So one dumbbell will go overhead, the other dumbbell is in a front rack position, and he will make his way 50 feet back towards the rig with the right arm overhead. Jacob Pfaff will actually pick the dumbbells up, and he is only a few reps from finishing. But it is James, the right arm is overhead, and he begins his lunges. We're at 15:22. There's a 17-minute cap. It's gonna be tight. He has 50 feet with the right arm, and then 50 feet with the left arm overhead. Boy, do we want to see someone finish. Mason Doherty has come from the clouds. And James has finished 50 feet. We've got 1:10 left. Kudos Bank Arena, let's give him some help. We've got 1 minute remaining. He's got 50 feet to go. David James, this is the equation. 50 feet. Hayden Lavender has got it overhead. 50 seconds remaining. The left arm is up, and he's away. Multiple men on the lunge now. He must get past the red line and then over his box. 30 seconds to go before cap. David James, can he finish this workout? It is going to be super tight. He's about 3 feet away. 15 seconds. He must go over the box. 1 foot's over, 10 seconds. Dumbbells down. He strips it across, he goes. 5, 3, 2, 1, and time. Keep the applause going for all these gentlemen. And your winner, the only man to finish, David James.
Right, and he's just smooth and slowly breathing. So right at this point, what he's trying to do is just dial in on his breath and get that heart rate down ready to start on these box step overs. But look at Zeke Grove go.
I just had a quick chat to Zeke downstairs before this event, and I just said, what's going to happen? He goes, I'm going to get to that box first, and I am going to go. And go he needs to do, if he gets 200 points from the next 2 events, he will book his ticket to the Reebok CrossFit Games this year. Generically, we know he does well in thrusters and rope climbs, but this is not his jam.
This is interesting, Jeremy, because a lot of the competitors, if we watch a lot of the different heats, nobody really has, led from the front. So let's see if Zeke can hold it through. I mean, the man has showed us how much talent he has, but let's see if he can hold it on through the back end of this race.
The interesting thing is that across a couple of lanes is James Newbury. Now, Zeke doesn't need to worry about what James is doing because James is way out in front. But Zeke needs to go top 3, top 4 to get those points that are on offer. There are 100 points for first, 94 second, 88 third, and 84 for fourth. And the point spread goes down the lower you get. But Zeke needs to maintain this pace if he can. But it is the guy that won the Chipper last year and our regional champ from last year, James Newbury.
Oh, this man is so talented. Is there anything this man cannot do? We watched him on the bike there before he got onto these box step overs. He was just composing himself. He has spoken to us when he won a couple of events about how he focuses a lot on his breath, and you can see that that's going to come into play and be really important. Now, another thing I'd like to also mention is look at James on that box step over. Now, a lot of the athletes, what they're doing is they are moving away from the box after they step over. If you watch James, he's just moving the box now, but if you watch James, he steps over, literally just toe taps the ground, and then steps straight back up. Now, when you put that in combination, you have 50 box step overs. It's a second here, second there, but here we go, there's the toe tap over. But I tell you what, those seconds, you times that by 50, and it all adds up.
James Newbury in front at the moment to the left of screen. Our second place position is Rob Watt, CrossFit Moorabbin, and he is about to flip his box. Into the first place position, our new leader, and a guy causing some waves is Rob Watts.
Hey Jeremy, I just wanted to point out, I'm down here on the floor watching Brandon Swan. We know he's one of those bubble athletes right there, almost in contention. And he is really taking his time with the step overs. I'm a little bit worried about him. He's doing the opposite to what Danae was talking about. He's sort of taking lots of steps in between reps. So I'm a little worried about former Games athlete Brandon Swan.
Look, Lily, that is an excellent point, because what he appears to do is he seems to be moving away a lot from his box.
Yeah, that's right. He's taking a few steps, isn't he?
Yeah, as you can see, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 extra steps. So now he's 1, 2, 3, 4 steps before he jumps up on that box. Now, we spoke about earlier about that grip strength coming to play as well. He's also having to hold on to those dumbbells that little bit longer.
That's right, Danae, but I think what he might be doing is like kind of almost taking a runner, like trying to get momentum to get himself over that box.
Let's see how that pans out for him through the back end of this race.
Swanee is going to be doing just that, running his own race in the past. He's committed to having a look around and seeing what everyone else is doing, but he is staying in his own lane. The good news for Brandon Swan is the 2 guys ahead of him in the blue shirts, Baden Brown and Royce Dunn, not going so well on these box overs. Rob Watt, our current leader. A third and then a 31st, which if he had a better result than the 31st, could be pushing for one of those top 5 spots.
Well, this is interesting, isn't it, Jeremy? We can see these blokes are really hungry for it. Now we come to the final leg where it all comes down to who wants it the most, who's willing to hurt the most.
Baden Brown in the blue. He's sitting in third currently, 274 points. Can he make his rookie appearance at the Reebok CrossFit Games? Zeke Grove with some work to do, but hang on to your hats, people. The man mountain himself, Matt Riley. He said he was going to bring it home. This man loves a chipper, and he said the back end of this event was going to be good. He's now level pegging with Rob Watt and James Newbury. Keep in mind, Dean Lyndon Leighton currently in second, and he's roughly in fifth position. The event record time of 13:03, not in jeopardy at all from Brent Fikowski. James Newbury, Rob Watt and Matt Riley, and now Mitch Cinnamon level pegging as our 4 leaders, but it is going to be Rob Watts pushing his box forward. He's got 2 more reps to do. Zeke Grove in the lane next to him has started to speed up his reps, and speed up he needs to do. He needs to go top 5.
Stayed fairly consistent through these box step overs, keeping nice and close to that box. We just see Mitch there, just with his top off, black shirts, just taking a small break. You know, this guy does love to work. You know, come on, Mitch, pick up those dumbbells. Let's go. Let's see what you got, brother.
James Newbury taking a seat, but not for long. Patrick Fellner from the East Regional tried that in the first week of competition, and it worked pretty well for him. But Matt Riley, who said he was going to come home very strong, and he is looking strong.
And you have to admit, you know, those long, tall limbs, they have to play a little bit into his favour in an event like this, don't they? Oh, there's a bit of a stumble.
That's okay, he's over that red line. Rob Watt to the bottom of the screen, coming up to the red line, is 48 points out of that bubble. Can he challenge Matt Riley, not only for the Heat 2 win, but for the fastest time at the Pacific Regional for event number 5? Rob just having a look to see where Matt is. He wants to go.
You can see the effects this event is having on this man. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it?
The entire crowd here at Kudos Bank Arena have suddenly got a spark, because Rob Watt and Matt Riley, you can see a rep for rep, lunge for lunge. Who can hang on for the last couple of meters, then get over their box and bring home Matt Riley stopping, Rob Watt stopping. Bob, what is this going to do?
This is a nail biter, isn't it?
The last couple of meters, last couple of steps, Matt Riley, top of screen, has got 1 lunge remaining. And once again, Matt Riley from CrossFit Urge in Sydney is winning the chipper event at the Pacific Regional. James Newbury sneaking into second position. Another 94 points to add to his tally. Rob Watt's result is going to do wonders for him. He's a little way back from the bubble, but he is going to grab 88 points. The guys in blue, Royce Dunn to the right and Baden Brown to the left. This is going to damage their chances of a top 5 heading into the last event. Zeke Grove has got half a length left, and he needs to start moving if he wants a shot at Event 6 and a third consecutive Reebok CrossFit Games spot for the Pacific Regional. Zeke Grove, center of screen, Mitch Cinnamon to the right. Mitch Cinnamon a little bit out of contention, but things will get shaken up. DLL has done himself all the favors. And Mitch just failing, but Zeke has done pretty well in that. I think he's going to finish 6th or 7th.
But Mitch just making him so close to get it there over the line.
What a great competitor Matt Riley is. Everybody knows when they see a chipper event and they see Matt Riley's name, they're going to get something special. He didn't disappoint once again, but Rob Watt, 48 points out of 5th.